NC and NC State.
Yeah, perhaps. So that's where they would probably aim, because again, it's about TVs. It's about how many people are watching TV, not whether your program's any good or not. In fact, there's a hesitancy. Why do you want to bring in two more teams, say Clemson and Florida State, because Florida State's back on the up again? Why do you want to bring in two teams that threaten your the teams that are in the league? Because Oklahoma and Texas to some degree do that. I'm not sure they want to bring in two more like that.
Well, since we are basically looking into all of these foggy, cloudy crystal balls.
Yeah.
I don't know if you read this story today or not, Rick, but when you read the headline, the first thing that comes into my mind, in essence, ESPN started off as a cable entity, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now,
they still are, aren't they? Well,
they still are.
They've got streaming, and they've got Facebook. I mean, they've got a website and all that too. Yeah.
Now, if you're talking about what could turn the face of college athletics upside down, if ESPN goes through with what they are looking at, and ESPN is part of Disney.
Yeah.
And the headline, and that's why it grabbed my attention quickly, it said, ESPN plans to go streaming only as uncertainty surrounds cable television. In other words, YouTube TV, now you have ESPN TV. And they bundle all their little stuff together, ESPN Plus and all the other things. And how can that be lucrative, you say? As of December the 31st, 2022, not that many months ago, Disney Plus had 161.8 million subscribers. ESPN Plus had 24.9. So if you put all your eggs, if you're ESPN, take it off the cable, strip cable down. I mean, it's not going to go away, but you take away a big component like ESPN, and now it becomes ESPN Plus or ESPN whatever. And that's your only option is through streaming. All of a sudden now, Amazon Prime doesn't look quite as stupid in paying as much as they are for the NFL.
Well, that's an interesting thought. Number one, Disney Plus over the last 6 months has lost subscribers. It's the first time that's happened to them. So even those numbers you gave are very, very good, but they used to have more than that. And again, that's the first time that's happened. So if you add ESPN, would that get some of them back? You know why a lot of people cut the cable? I know this is on our program. It is almost impossible to believe this. There are people that don't watch sports, and ESPN is the most expensive property on cable. Yeah. There are people that actually don't watch sports. I don't get it. When everybody's talking about Netflix when they first started, and we now have Netflix because we get it free for life through our T-Mobile subscription, and that was amazing. And we watch Netflix some, but you think, well, why would you watch Netflix? Because you can't watch live news, you can't watch live sports. But there's a lot of pretty good entertainment on Netflix, I must say, and we don't watch TV shows.
Oh my, Joe! Did you hear that?
Yeah. So
did you hear that, Joe?
But what I'm saying is, a lot of people cut the cords and go to that. Those people that are cutting the cords and going to Netflix are not going to all of a sudden subscribe to Disney Plus because they have ESPN.
Joe, was he not making fun of us the other day for listening and watching Prime?
Oh yeah.
Nice,
you were watching some stuff.
Nice praising Netflix.
He's flipped.
Oh my gosh, both sides. It's coming out.
Amazon Prime.
Drive Time Sports will continue. Drive Time Sports here on the Buzz Radio Network. Rick Schaffer. I'm Randy Rainwater. First Security is lending more than a hand. Now, First Security is busy helping our customers by providing the loans they need. Some of us need help, and there is First Security. So whether it's for your home, your business, or your family, at First Security, we have the type of loan that's right for you. Whether it's a personal loan, home loans and refinancing, home equity loans. We talk a lot about home equity loans, home improvement, college education, debt consolidation, or maybe a commercial loan. Maybe you want to buy a home, real estate, whatever it may be, a business, construction, equipment, lines of credit. When you need a loan, you'll find one here. Call or stop by any First Security location today for better loans backed by better personal service. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, only in Arkansas. That's First Security Bank. I hope he's listening because I'm expecting one Bart Reed. But so far I haven't seen one Bart Reed. So hopefully we'll hear from Bart in a moment. Maybe he got busy.
Is one Bart Reed like the Ohio State University? Is he
one
Bart Reed?
Yeah.
Is that it?
One Bart Reed. Oh, by the way, I need to get this. I need to go ahead and say this because you just ridiculed me beyond. I had to climb underneath the table. Here I am at this one Razorback.
Yeah, that's great.
Show and we got to talking, if you remember, about the first round matchup with the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
And the
and you said
Miami
it's a freebie.
Heat.
It wasn't a freebie. You wanted Boston to win, and they didn't win.
I told you they were going to get smoked, and they did. No. Yes, I did.
You did?
Did I? Okay. Joe, back me up on this.
Oh, yeah. He wasn't confident in what the Celtics have been doing at all.
6-point game? Is that smoked?
Yeah, that final score was a lot closer than the game
exactly.
was.
It's almost like the Lakers and the Nuggets the other night.
I see.
It may have looked good at the end, but really, and actually, LA had a better chance of winning that game against Denver than what Boston did last night against Miami. I'm telling you, Rick, this series, I'm not sure it can go 5 games.
Come on.
See, what I tell you, Joe, he does it to me all the time.
It's going to go more than 5 games. Now, Navy Mike thinks they're all rigged to go 7 games for the money. I don't know if it is or not, but at any rate.
Well, I'm sorry I can't restore my pride and my ego because we've got somebody else we need to make sure we talk to.
It's time for the basketball insider in Arkansas. It's pure sweats, skills, and trainings. Bart Reed, made possible by Martin Orthopedics, with locations in Little Rock, North Little Rock, Cabot, and Hot Springs Village, staffed with fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeons and sports medicine specialists. For more information on the web, go to martinortho.care. Now, here's Bart.
Well, Bart.
Hello, gentlemen.
What's up?
Long time no talk. How is everybody?
That's right. You know, Bart, you're I just said to Randy, it's just like being the Ohio State University. You are the Bart Reed. You're one Bart Reed. That's pretty amazing.
That's right. When McPherson called me the other day, he just called me by Bart, and I said, "Ho, call back. And let's introduce it the right way."
Wow. Here I was fishing for some great show of humility by Bart. Instead, he just went right along with it. Said, "Yeah, you're right, man. I am the. How about
this? Is the Bart Reed."
Rick, that was out of my character, right? Normally I wouldn't do that, so I apologize. I had to do.
Okay. Well, hey,
Randy
ought to ask the questions today because he just deserted us when you were on yesterday. He just,
man, that was chaos.
Yeah.
I lost signal, and for 30 minutes I kept hitting redial finally we rebooted the entire system and I was able to get back on. But I hated missing that. I love asking you questions because I've got questions now. It seemed like I'm not sure how much you've been able to keep up with the combine going in Chicago. And it looks like it's almost like an elevator to a degree with Jordan Walsh. You know, they did the early testing. Boy, they're raving about, this, that, and the other. 7'2" wingspan. Then they get into playing games, and he didn't score, but he had 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Now today it looks like he's playing the entire game, and I'm guessing that after today his stock will go back up. Bart, help kind of explain how this process works, because it seems like it is an elevator with some of these guys, up one day, down the next, and then back up the next.
It is, and this is why so guys, you can't. I think there's only one projected, top first round pick that is not going to participate in the 5-on-5 scrimmages. So it's almost like a lot of people will opt out maybe of the shuttle run and some of the vertical leap. Most everyone plays 5-on-5, and it's by far the most riskiest proposition out there because everybody's trying to get theirs. Everybody's trying to show that they're the top dog. So you can have these swings in the game. And if we remember last year, remember Jalen Williams had the great first game, kind of mesmerized. Yes. And then he took a game off because, he had a knee injury. But listen, he was happy to take the game off because it's less risk, so you don't get this. Jordan Walsh is showing us the exact reason why he was a late entry into the NBA draft pool. Inconsistency shooting the basketball. I have no doubt he can defend right now at that level. We've said this. He's an NBA level athlete right now, not 3 years from now, right now. But his ability to shoot, even put it on the deck and make decisions whether to pass and shoot, they're not there. It's not caught up with the rest of his game. But certainly, Coach Muss was really on the defensive about him yesterday, and 5 rebounds is great. He did not look good yesterday at all. Call it what it is. But certainly I think this has put him where he is. He is a late first round at best, low second round or early second round draft pick. And I think, guys, that's where he belongs, and that's probably where he'll stay unless he comes back to college.
What can he do in his limited time, Bart? What can he do while he's there in Chicago to raise this stock? What can he do?
Well, he really needs, that's why you have to go in extremely prepared. And this is why I think Nick Smith and certainly, Rick and I talked about Anthony Black, with his measurables too, his vertical leap, his size, all that stuff. Anthony Black and Jordan Walsh are going to share the same curse, and that is shooting the basketball. So putting shots in will be a big, big help. But if he can facilitate and show that he can facilitate some other forms of offense, distribution, driving kick, taking down in the post, getting rebound putbacks, he needs to be as active as he can be and really, really focus and make sure his feet are set and he's confident when he shoots the basketball. I've said this, and we saw this with the Razorbacks this year. A lot of these guys don't know what's a good shot. Now the court spreads out, so mid-range becomes even more valuable, I think, to the individual player, not to the team, but to the individual player. These guys are moving, but they're not ready to shoot the ball. Be ready to shoot the ball, stay active, play hard, and I think he's going to show that he's always going to play hard. Show leadership, and that's what Nick Smith's been trying to do during his interview process is show leadership, show that he's a franchise-type player, show that college was basically just a little inconsistent blip on the radar, and he's ready to be a franchise player.
Okay, Bart, I've got a couple of questions here real quick from our Asher Record Service Company live fan feedback. From Keith, I think you've kind of answered it, but you did not per se on Anthony Black and Nick Smith Jr. Keith says, any updated draft projections for these two? Jordan Walsh as well. You covered that with Jordan, late first round, maybe at the very best, certainly mid second round is more than likely. What about any updated draft projections for Anthony Black and Nick Smith Jr.?
Well, listen, I'm going to go a little more than I might even name a team. I might be bold and name some teams here. I really think if you're looking at it, this is going to be quite interesting because Nick Smith and Anthony Black could really be almost outside of maybe another player, almost be the first like true combo guard taken. And the Wizards are interesting at 8. They need a guard. Now, a year ago, they would have jumped all over Nick Smith. It would be interesting to see, do they take Anthony Black at 8, leave Nick Smith on the board? Because I really think this. The Thunder don't need a guard, but they've only taken guards in the draft. So a lot of people that know the Thunder know that they're going to take a guard. So we're talking about potentially maybe Nick Smith, Isaiah Joe combo could be really interesting. Nick Smith does not go past Toronto at 13. Is it 13 or 14, guys?
I think it's 14.
14. Mark it down, take it to the bank, mortgage your house, go to the casino. He's not going past 14, baby.
Goodness. Is that why you're the
He is gone.
The Bart Reed owns my house. I just mortgaged it.
I think he snapped up and listen. Nobody's happier than Toronto to grab him that late. Was projected to be a top 3 pick. So, but I think there's still more time that things can move. And what's going to be interesting is these private workouts. Anthony Black, 30% from the 3-point line. That is when you get an individual workout or a small group workout in front of an NBA executive, not shooting the basketball is going to stand out like you would not believe. I had the chance to watch Jason Tatum's pre-draft with Drew Hanlon when the Celtics and everybody was. The knock on Jason Tatum, guys, was that at that time he could not shoot the basketball. He shot it 6 to 7% better than Anthony Black. So if you're in college, so that's how you can see Black slipping and Nick Smith sliding above, because Nick is a much better shooter, and not just off the dribble, off the pin downs and wide pin downs and screens.
Hold on, the Bart Reed. Hang on. Drive Time Sports will continue. Drive Time Sports here on the Buzz Radio Network. Rick Schaffer, I'm Randy Rainwater, along with the Bart Reed, who will be returning in a moment. Watching the Combine on ESPN2, I'm thinking the team that Jordan Walsh is playing with, they may want to head to the nearest Double B's, which would be several miles away, but I think they need some Gatorade. Look like they're running out of gas, so to speak. The 28-ounce Gatorade, 2 for $4.50. They need maybe a jump start. Maybe that 16-ounce Rockstar, an amp. We're talking 2 for $4. Or maybe those Little Debbie mini donuts, 2 for $2. That is just part of the May specials you'll find at your local Double B's. There's 32 of them, by the way, in the state of Arkansas, but I don't think there's one in Chicago. And maybe you're needing some quick cash. All the Double B's locations have ATMs for your convenience. And be sure and sign up and pay with your Exxon credit card, and you'll save 10 cents off a gallon at the pump. Can't beat that deal. It's Double B's, where you gas it, grab it, and go. Make it Double B's. We are joined by the Bart Reed. Let me play this The Bart Reed intro.
It's time for the Basketball Insider in Arkansas. It's pure sweats, skills, and trainings. Bart Reed, made possible by Martin Orthopedics, with locations in Little Rock, North Little Rock, Cabot, and Hot Springs Village, staffed with fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeons and sports medicine specialists. For more information on the web, go to martinortho.care. Now, here's Bart.
Oh, by the way, Bart, from our Asher Record Service Company live feed feedback, Boombox says, Randy, perhaps Bart's segment should be renamed The Bart Reed Half Hour of Power.
Hey, he's talking my language. I like that.
All right, Bart. When they did the Anthony Black one-on-one the other day, and when I say one-on-one, he's meeting with the media. I don't know if he was asked this. All I heard was the response. And it's Anthony Black was saying, as you were saying, the Wizards, they need a guard. So he is even believing. Now, whether or not the Wizards have talked to him or not, who knows? Maybe you do know. But that's pretty bold, is it not? Here you are, a draft prospect, and you're kind of saying, well, I know the Wizards. They need a guard. They need me.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think this year, more so than probably years in the past, there's a lot less of, I think you could get teams that could go with a guard or they need a forward. There are really a lot of teams that need guards in the first round, which is great for Anthony Black, great for Nick Smith, great for Grady Dick, Keontae George, all those guys. They need guards, but certainly it is funny how much information is passed. But as we know last year, the number one pick did not go in for an interview or a visit. Banchero, guys, remember, did not go to the Magic for a workout or an interview. So everybody missed out. So just because teams are interested in talking, just like as the Thunder spoke to Nick Smith, that doesn't necessarily mean anything except they're really interested in that player and they're looking at that position. But I certainly think that's a good place to start with the guard. I could easily see Anthony Black and or Nick Smith going at number 8.
All right, Bart, kind of take it one step further, because in listening to last night's analysis of the Boston-Miami game, and it turned out that, I guess you can say the analysis was correct. Their statement was Boston is minus a point guard. I understand Tatum is a 2. Brown is probably a 2. Brogdon, I'm not sure what he is. I mean, he's a very good player. Same thing with Marcus Smart. But they're saying they don't have a point guard. So what exactly, when these analysts are saying, what do they mean this team needs a point guard in the NBA?
Well, what they mean now, so Randy, that's a great question. So if you want to look, so let's talk about the SEC, because you look at the Sacramento just recently finished their series. When they say they want a point guard, they want someone like De'Aaron Fox that can get downhill with size and length and get a shot whenever he wants to get a shot. Doesn't mean he takes it, but they want a person that can catch the ball off the rebound or get the rebound and go end to end and get a bucket without having to pass, facilitate for someone else, ball screen, or anything else. And so that is the new age point guard. It's not facilitate, pass first, score second. It's score first, facilitate second. Now, you need a little less of that in Boston because Jason Tatum is a dynamic scorer. But basically, Randy, Rick, they're looking for someone that can get downhill, get past a primary defender, and basically is going to have to make a team account for him with two defenders. Certainly in a ball screen situation, which the NBA is a high ball screen league, always has been, always will be, they have to account and almost put two people on that point guard at that particular instance so he can easily make decisions to score or get someone else a shot.
So, Bart, you're not, I mean, throw the mold away unless he's an Allen Iverson, but throw the mold away of that 6'1", 6'2" guard. I mean, you're really saying, again, Anthony Black, who is either 6'5" and 3/4 without his shoes on, or he's 6'7" with shoes on, but they're looking for that length and size you talked about that we used to think was maybe a 3.
Yeah, maybe a 3. And so, Randy, it's a great point, right? Because Coach Musselman came out and said, we think Anthony Black can play the 1, 2, or the 3. Well, he can, because he can guard a 3. He has the length, but and can score an offense. But I cannot stress this enough, playing the college game on the Division I level and knowing the NBA game like I do. You are what you can defend. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. If you're a 2 guard, but you can't defend the 2, doesn't matter. You're not a 2. And I think that's why what has kept like a Dusty Hannah out of the league for so long is because that has to happen. You have to be able to defend your position. Nick Smith is a 1 and a 2. Anthony Black is a 1 and 2, and potentially a 3. And NBA executives compare Anthony Black to this. I've heard it every time. Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons came out with no jump shot. Anthony Black's is way better. His 3-point shot's way better. Ben Simmons was extremely successful in certain aspects, and a lot of it is when you're that tall, guys, you can get your way out of trouble. You can jump up, make late decisions. Someone that's 6'6", 6'7" can do that. Someone better than 6 foot, 6'1".
Wow. I mean, it's positionless basketball. Now
it's a different game.
Now the new age point guards, and it gets kind of dizzy sometimes. Trying to keep up with. I mean, it's like I used to always think that a left-handed pitcher in baseball was gold. Now, almost, Bart, if you're not 6'8", legit 6'8", and have those point guard type skills, then it's no wonder in some cases you're undervalued as it is. You know, that's what makes this process fascinating. Did you realize that there are 4 players who are playing significant roles for the Miami Heat who were undrafted?
That's
undrafted. Undrafted, Bart.
I did not know that. So, Randy, do you know who the best one is? I'm just curious. I'm asking. I have no clue. Who's the best player that's undrafted on that team? Do you know?
Joe, can you help me out real quick?
Strus is their 3-point shooter.
That's it. That was one of the guys they were talking about.
Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson. He doesn't spend a lot of time on the court, but he has the big contract.
Undrafted.
And that's because Spolster is a genius and he's an analytics guy. Numbers. That's it.
Thank you, Bart.
Thank you.
Hour number 2 of Drive Time Sports here on the Buzz Radio Network. Rick Schaffer standing by in Northwest Arkansas. I'm Randy Rainwater from the capital city. Do want to remind you, not only coming up next is Trey Beatty of hogsports.com being brought to you by Asher Record Service Company, but we are off at 5:30 for Arkansas Razorback baseball. In just a matter of moments, pregame with Phil Elson from Vanderbilt, from Nashville, Tennessee, as the Arkansas Razorbacks set to take on the Vanderbilt Commodores. First, let's talk with my man Neil Atkinson by way of Saracen. And Neil, the money line is favoring Arkansas, yet this is a very challenging road game for the Razorbacks.
Absolutely. Very important game. Regular season conference championship on the line this weekend. Arkansas is the master of their destiny. If they win all 3 out, they don't have to worry about Florida or LSU. So we're excited about that. Yeah. And in addition to Arkansas tonight, don't forget to look at the specials. We got the double R player specials. We have the Arkansas specials where you can predict what the series is going to be for the weekend. Let's hope it's Arkansas 3-0. You make 2.5 to 1 on your money. If you make that bet. And don't forget, we've got the softball regional specials centered around the Arkansas and UCA to win their regions, to advance to the series, and to win the series. We'll put up super regional when the field's set in the super regional, and let's hope both teams are in that one. Also, NBA action tonight, playoffs, Lakers and the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are a 5.5-point favorite right now. So, hey, if you're an Arkansas bettor, we've got 5 games, baseball games tonight with Arkansas teams, 3 college teams, including UAPB. Then you got the Travelers and the Northwest Naturals. So even though it's mainly baseball right now, we've got all of the teams represented. That and softball, and even the golf is still really, really popular. We took not as much as on the Masters, but we've got a lot of action on the golf this weekend also.
And don't forget, there is the future. Speaking of MLB, where you can predict or bet on the eventual World Series champion, National League Central, and it goes on and on. It's all there. Where do I find all this stuff, Neil?
Well, on your phone, you can go to the App Store, go to the Google Play or the Apple App Store and just type in Bet Saracen. Or from any web browser or PC, you can type in betsaracen.com. If you're on a phone, it's going to direct you to the App Store automatically for you. And if you're on the web, you can just register and log in if you haven't created an account and check it out. Even if you don't have an account, you don't have to create one to search all of our menus and our offerings before you sign up. So you can look before you buy on Bet Saracen.
Like it. All right, Neil, we will talk with you tomorrow. Neil Atkinson by way of Saracen.
Now to Trey Beatty, brought to you by Asher Record Service, 501-562-2293. Family owned and operated since 1980. Asher Wrecker, dependable towing and vehicle recovery service. Ask for Asher.
Good afternoon, Trey.
Hey, guys.
We didn't get a chance to elaborate on this because by the time I had Sam Pittman on, you were not on at that time. But I think you asked me to ask specifically about Quincy McAdoo. And I must tell you, even though there was some positive news, a lot of questions are lurking about Quincy and his potential availability for this upcoming season.
Yeah, just kind of reading between the lines on what he said, and I listened to the interview. Great job yesterday. To me, it doesn't feel like he's going to be available this year.
It sounded like to me.
If he's, maybe not the end of his football career, but maybe the end of the season for him. Again, he didn't specifically say that, but I mean, what is today? The 18th. The accident happened on the 1st.
Yeah.
and we're
he's
talking
still in the
about,
hospital.
just now getting ready to go home from the hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds pretty serious. So, and that's kind of what I'd heard behind the scenes. I'd heard, mixed things. Some people saying it's not as bad as people say, but most of the things I was hearing was, probably not going to be playing this season. Quincy has to focus on his health, it sounds like, and football is obviously something that's important to him, but probably needs to be something to think about, later, and making sure you get yourself back healthy. And hopefully, everything will be there and he does get healthy and he'll be able to resume his career. I think that's the hope, but I think thinking about it for this year might be wishful thinking.
The best I've been able to understand, Trey, about the accident, apparently either his vehicle clipped another vehicle or vice versa, and it created a rollover. And in the process, his seatbelt came unbuckled, which I'm guessing has caused the majority of the issues, the physical issues involving Quincy. And if you're talking about the vertebrae, the neck, all of that particular area, this is where you go into the hyper mode on being overprotective. This is just an area of the body you cannot take any chances, one iota. And if he has to miss this season, so be it. If his career is over, then so be it, as long as he's able to walk and be able to function as a normal human being. And if football is just not in the future, it's just not in the future. You're right. Right now, the number one concern is for the health and well-being of Quincy McAdoo.
Yeah, and similar things to what I've heard on that, about the rollover and everything. But yeah, I mean, it kind of makes me think back to like Raleigh Williams, when Raleigh, I mean, he played a whole season after his first neck injury and ran for 1,300 plus yards. And then the red-white game was rained out, I remember. And he had just not even a real collision. They weren't even live tackle, but felt very, very tingly. And, could he have gone on to play and, had an NFL career? Possibly. But, I mean, it's scary when you start talking about neck and, and vertebrae and things like that. And you're, talking about your quality of life. It's just not worth it. So, even if there's millions of dollars out there, it's still not worth it.
Sure.
So yeah, hopefully things work out. I know we're all praying for Quincy.
No question. This was by Danny. You kind of touched on it a little bit yesterday, or maybe it's the day before. I've lost track of days, but it doesn't matter. But it was the arrival dates for the Arkansas summer enrollees. Now, what I did not do, and I'm guessing this is a complete accounting, with the exception of the last two scholarships that have yet to be determined. I think the number now is 83. I saw your scholarship distribution, 83, and that means there's two others. But it looks like most of these student athletes are going to be arriving by the end of May, I should say.
Yeah, end of May. And Danny put on his podcast on Hog Sports. He had interviewed, three players. I think Ian Jaffard was the one who said this. But from talking to Ian, Danny talking to Ian, it sounds, and he's, arriving at the same time. All these guys are arriving like at the end of May, between May 25th, May 30th. But it sounds like the start of workouts is going to be June 1st. Rick, I know you were wondering about that. So
yes,
it looks
of
like
course,
June 1st
of
will be when
course,
they start working out.
Of course, you bet. Hey, and by the way, and I know the numbers, we can all get confused. Sam Pittman, evidently not on our show, but addressing the media yesterday, said they're down to one scholarship left. So they may have given one to a walk-on. There may be some we don't know about, but that was his comment yesterday.
Maybe it was Rhodes, the JUCO edition. I'm not really sure how that scholarship was working out, so maybe that's what he's talking about, or maybe there's somebody that hasn't announced yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, right. But he said that's what he said yesterday. That's all I know. You keep up with that a lot better than we do.
I've got him at 83 right now, unless the junior college edition counts, or if there's somebody they're just waiting to announce. Maybe he was teasing something. I don't know. I didn't hear. But we'll see.
I don't know, Trey, if he said this on the air or not, because I'd asked him about it off the air, and he said he could talk about it because he had already signed his financial agreement, and that was Keon Stewart. He has signed his financial agreement, and it may be such that this other player that you're talking about,
Rhodes,
Rhodes has signed his. Chris Rhodes may have signed his financial agreement, and it just hadn't been, quote, announced.
Maybe so. That's definitely possible. I know people were speculating on how that was going to work out exactly, because it sounds like he's got some kind of guarantee, whether it's in terms like blue shirt and gray shirt. I don't know really apply, but maybe there's. I don't know. I don't know exactly. It's just me speculating, but somewhere they're counting somebody that I'm not counting.
Well, now that I think about it, when I was asking Sam about the other two scholarships,
and wide receiver,
actually said about a snap. Yeah, he wanted a center, and a wide receiver.
Yeah,
so that's two.
That's two.
Okay, Rick, we're totally confused now.
Look, I didn't mean to start something. I'm just saying that's what he said. It was documented. I saw it written that's what he said. They had one number left. And then, you're saying they want to sign two more. I don't know. I'm sorry I brought it up.
We want to be right, don't we, Trey?
Absolutely. I'm going to check on it with sports information after I get done with you guys and see if I can find out something more clear.
Kyle, I'm sorry for the call. Sorry for the late call.
Kyle loves me. He loves dealing with me.
He doesn't answer my calls anymore, so at least you're still getting through. That's more than I can say. So, no, Kyle has been super cooperative, super helpful. Trey, when you start, and I'll go back again to the article that you had. I love anytime there's an add-on, Rick. I know that Trey is coming back out with this particular article. I got about a stack of about 6 inches deep of Trey's updates with the football scholarship distribution.
I need to maybe stop running the article so much so you'll stop destroying the forest for your print offs.
Well, I want to be up to date. I mean, I'm sitting here staring at it. I'm talking straight from what you put down on paper. So, I mean, you are my authority. When I start going through this list, and I know you have talked about the positions of need, and now when you start looking back at some of these areas, as an example, this looks very impressive on paper now. As an example, 6 tight ends. At one time, I think you started off with maybe 3, and now it's up to 6. It's doubled. But that's because of the addition of Francis Sherman and Varkey's Gums. I mean, those are 2 nice add-ons.
Well, it's because Trey's been pleading with them to sign tight ends, so they did. That's the deal, right?
I mean, I laid it out there. I said they needed 2 tight ends, and everybody's like, well, the numbers look pretty good. I don't know. But they needed 2. They needed 2 veteran tight ends, and that's what they got, especially Varkey's Gums. I mean, he's going to come in and really help them. I think about KJ Jefferson, 2, 6'4", maybe even 6'4", 6'7", wide receivers, Rocket Sanders in the backfield, Luke has Varkey's Gums. I think that's pretty imposing. So getting Varkey's Gums to me changes so much of what they're able to do on offense. And nothing against Francis Sherman. I think that he can come in and help them. I just think Gums is more of a dynamic player for them. And, you also got Shamar Easter coming in. You don't have to just throw Easter right into the fire right away. And a lot of years, 3 years ago plus, he would have been a guy that you would have said, okay, suit up and get in there because we need you. So, Easter's going to be a very, very good player also. And now they have a lot of options. And you know what? If somebody gets banged up, they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. They can absorb an injury. Always knock on wood when I talk about injuries.
Yeah,
they can absorb one because
careful.
it's just like, oh, can they? Watch what we do to your defensive secondary. Like last year, it looked like they were pretty deep, but you should be able to absorb injuries and keep trucking at a lot of spots, and that is where the transfer portal has really transformed things for Arkansas, and it's something that has separated this program from a lot of the upper tier programs. Maybe especially recently, maybe since Houston that was at Arkansas, the overall quality of defensive player. And there's been some years, the 2014 team had a really good defense. But the overall quality, I think, of defensive player is better than it's been in a long time, and the overall depth. And again, especially on defense. I mean, there's just so many instances I can think of, playing a team like Alabama where a guy like Brooks Ellis, they held Derrick Henry to under 100 yards rushing and, feeling good about the way they're playing. But the fourth quarter, Brooks Ellis can't breathe because he's been on the field the whole time because the next best guy isn't as good as a Brooks Ellis who can't breathe. So it doesn't make sense to put the next guy in. So now, hopefully for Arkansas, that kind of stuff is changing and you can get to the second half of the season and not just be decimated feeling and moving guys around. In Quincy McAdoo's case, having to move a wide receiver to defensive back, now it worked out very well. At the time, obviously, things have changed since then. But as far as on the field, that worked out very well for Arkansas. But you'd rather not have to move a freshman wide receiver over to the secondary. And, I was talking to some guys the other day and everybody was talking about how, they are freaking out with the transfer portal. And, Sam Pittman, this was something he said in his press conference, like, everybody's going to freak out. There's going to be a lot of players leaving. Get ready. I remember him saying that. But, the other end of it was coming. The other side of the coin was coming. So what did they say? The other shoe was going to drop. Is that the expression?
Mm-hmm. That's
and you're going to welcome in a lot of guys, and it's going to bring a lot of excitement. I definitely think Arkansas, when you shake it all out, probably came out a winner in the transfer portal.
Definitely. Now, Trey, is there? I don't know if you've looked. Let's just go on the premise that there are 2 scholarships remaining, and that Coach Pittman wants a wide receiver and he wants a center. Is there a center out there, or have you looked at the transfer portal to see? I mean, at this point, it sounds like he's wanting depth. He is not expecting this guy to come in and compete for a starting job. At least that's what it sounded to me.
Yeah, and I don't know that there was like a guy that was going to do that earlier, like Muskrat. I don't know if he was like the guy that was going to come in and just compete for a starting job. But there is and I'm trying to remember his name. There's a junior college offensive lineman. I believe it's Wiggins, Amari Wiggins, who might be a candidate. So he would probably be a guy to keep an eye on.
And then, right now you're showing 14 offensive linemen, and that position does seem and look very good. The other position,
Pittman would like to have 17. That would be his ideal number.
Okay.
He hasn't said that publicly, but I can promise you that's what he would like to have.
Gotcha. The other spot that I've got to tell you that maybe 30 days ago or how many days ago, the linebacker spot, at least number wise, looks very good.
Yeah, linebacker will choke you up a little bit finally. How much better that situation looks. I mean, for years, I can go back to AJ Turner and Otha Peter starting as freshmen, and I don't know if either of those guys were with the program much longer after that. I can think about when, Sam Pittman brought in a bunch of linebackers and none of them panned out except for Scooter Harris, Alexi Jean-Baptiste and Giovanni LaFrance and D. Walker, all these guys, eventually left the program not long after that. Some of them moved to defensive end, a couple of them. But now, linebacker, you got nine quality linebackers that you're going to have on campus, and getting Antonio Greer and Jaheim Thomas to go with Chris Paul, that's potentially a very, very good three-man rotation. And Arkansas has had success with that over the years, and they've got guys getting banged up. Hayden Henry just battling through shoulders and bumper pull with his hips, and Grant Morgan with his bionic elbow thing he had going on. And they've had success with that. But the thing is, now you got Greer, Thomas, Paul, and also you got Jordan Crook, Manny Powell, Carson Dean has looked really good as a freshman. So, yeah, the transfer portal can really provide a lot of quality depth.
All right, Trey, we are out of time. That's Trey Beatty of hogsports.com, being brought to you by Asher Record Service Company. Coming up next, Arkansas Razorback Baseball.